Premiers also turned their attention to strengthening Canada-U.S. relations. We are very concerned about the Buy American provisions in the U.S. economic stimulus package. And we want to be very clear that we fully support the efforts of the Prime Minister and of Minister Stockwell-Day to take a very direct and clear message to the United States that this country obviously values what is more than a trading relationship. It is a value chain relationship. And we know from our interchange with governors and other American leaders, American businesses, and in the case of the Premier of Alberta, even a meeting with American labor, we know that Americans by and large understand the importance of that relationship as well. They understand that millions of jobs on both sides of the border depend on freer and fair trade between our two countries. I note that there was a poll put out today in the United States that confirms this, that Americans think that our two countries need to be cooperating with respect to the economy and avoiding unnecessary trade disputes. And so we want to support the national government in their efforts to send a very clear message to the United States that we believe it's important to be free and fair traders, and we believe that of our trading partners as well. Also, with respect to the Canada-U.S. relationship, premiers agreed that Canadian energy exports can obviously help meet American energy security needs, and we need to make a point of that. And we want to be very clear as well, as premiers of provinces and territories, that hydroelectricity is a renewable energy source. And as the Americans develop their environmental plan, that the recognition for that fact, the full recognition for that fact, and all it implies with respect to their environmental plan be made that hydroelectricity is a renewable energy source. We dealt as well with, finally, we focused on Canada's place in the world from the perspective, to be sure, of premiers of provinces and territories. And we have a message here again for our federal government that we want to partner with them in ensuring that we are increasing trade opportunities and developing economic partnerships with the EU. That's obviously underway, but also with the Asia Pacific, China, India, Japan, and other Asian countries. I think it's true that premiers have been very much engaged with this issue. Provincial governments have, and regions have been engaging in these other areas as we seek to diversify our export interests away from such a dependence on one country. And we want to encourage the federal government to continue to work with us in partnership there. We're specifically calling on the federal government as well today to make it easier for Mexicans living outside of Mexico City to obtain Canadian visas. That's a problem right now. There's really only that one source in that country for those Mexicans who are wanting to come to Canada, and the national government can be a force for good here as well. We would say as well that much of the leadership on climate change, whether that's policies with respect to regulation, whether that's fiscal instruments like we've seen in British Columbia and Alberta, whether it's investing in and in other provinces, whether it's investing in carbon capture and sequestration, I think it's fair to say that provinces and territories have demonstrated leadership in the area of climate change and reducing the carbon footprint of our respective economies, and therefore the Canadian economy. And we would say this, that Canada is going to be well served if they continue to work with the provinces, if the provinces are not only engaged in developing the position going into Copenhagen, but invited to Copenhagen, and we accept the Minister Prentice's invitation to join the federal government, the national government at Copenhagen as those discussions happen. Finally, on the issue of climate, we agree that Canada will be well served if we work together with the United States on a continental approach on the issue of the environment of carbon. One more point with respect to Canada-U.S. relations. Premiers have been working very hard, either through regional associations, like, for example, the Western governors and the Western premiers and our counterparts in other parts of our country and other parts of the United States, to engage in a bilateral and direct way with the Americans, to talk about the importance of trade. It was that kind of forum that gives us the chance to go to Chicago, Illinois, and say, you know, a quarter of the world's mustard is grown in the province of Saskatchewan, but most of the mustard is made here, and there are a lot of jobs at stake. That's that value chain relationship, and we've been able to develop, I think premiers and governors have developed a very good relationship that probably that should give us all hope that we can resolve some of these trade issues like Buy American. We're going to be engaging with the National Governors Association as a council of the Federation and participating in a meeting with them in February. But in the meantime, premiers are going to continue to engage with their counterparts, governors, business interests, labor groups down there, as I have already mentioned. That's today, and as you know, we dealt with H1N1, EI, and pensions, and it's very important to remember that this conference started out, though not officially, with a successful meeting with the National and Aboriginal organizations, and let's not forget we've agreed to develop a working group to deal with a number of the very key issues we talked about with respect to Aboriginals in our country and their greater engagement in full life in the country, including the economy. So I want to thank, before we go to questions, I want to thank all the officials from all of the provinces and territories, but especially Saskatchewan, who have made this conference possible. And I want to thank the media, obviously, for being here for these 2 days and for their tough but fair questions that will follow. We'll open it up now for those tough but fair questions.